So I just want to say hi and welcome to everyone. My name is Kyle Odell, and I am the Senior Director of Student Engagement at John Carroll. In plain speak, that means that my office is pretty much responsible for all the fun things on campus. One of our responsibilities is our commuter services. So we coordinate all of the social programming that we do with our commuters. The way we're going to flow today is I just have a very short, like, four-slide PowerPoint to just give an overview of what we do with our commuters. And then we have three current students who are commuting, as well as an alumnus who was a commuter during his time at John Carroll. I think they will be the stars of the show to share their perspectives. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just run through the kind of overview of the experience for commuters. And then we will have our students and alum talk about their actual lived experience every day. So one of the first questions we get from commuters is, where do I park? The first year commuters are actually the only students on campus who have their own designated parking lot. It's just across the street from our Dolan Science Center. So if you're familiar with John Carroll, it's kind of where by BP and Ben & Jerry's and Pizzazz are. It's open almost 24 hours a day, Monday through Friday. And then if you were to come to campus on the weekend for an event or a football game, you can just go ahead and park on the main campus. You get parking permits either for the whole year or for each semester, and you can get those in the summer. You would purchase it in the same location you go to sign up for orientation. And then the reality is there are many ways that our commuters get to campus. I think that everyone assumes that all commuters drive, and that is not true at all. We have people who live close enough to walk, definitely a group that comes by the rapid or by the bus. And then we have students who, their families, they share cars, and some students are dropped off every day. Probably the most fun part are the services we do for our commuter students. We have about 4 to 5 different social programs a month. Almost all of them take place during the workday because that's when we know most commuters are on campus. So our drop-in programs are called DIPS. They happen twice a month in our commuter lounge. It's real simple. We have fun food and hanging out. And this year, when you come to those events, like every seat is taken, people are standing out in the hallway. It's a real popular, real casual event. We have bagels and coffee once or twice a month over in the Dolan Science Center, which is close to where the freshman commuters park. We definitely have a loyal group who is there at 8 a.m. waiting for the bagels when we show up with that. Once a month on a Friday, we do a commuter trip to the movies. That's my personal favorite. We pay for your ticket. We pay for your concessions. Sometimes we allow you to bring a guest because we know that as commuters, you're still connected often with siblings or maybe a parent. We take students to professional sporting events in Cleveland, Indians, Browns, Cavs. The Cavs games used to be a lot more fun to go to when they were winning, but they are still great to go and hang out together. And really, there's more. There's a lot of like special niche programs we have. Like we usually have a Final Four kickoff party. We have a Cinco de Mayo kind of celebration. We do stuff during finals week. And the bottom bullet shows that all the commuter programs are free of charge to our students. You will need to provide your own transportation, but we also provide rapid passes if you don't have a vehicle, and you can take the rapid downtown if that's where the event is. So again, these events are all social. We leave the learning to the stuff in the classroom, and we just want to provide time for you all to hang out and build community. Where do people hang out when they don't have class? We have a commuter lounge in the student center. It's got a microwave, a TV, some computers, very comfortable furniture for taking naps, tables where people can do some study work together. So that is somewhere that we see students almost throughout the entire day. Computer labs, in order to get some of your work done, they're kind of scattered all over campus. A lot of commuters also bring their laptops with them so they can kind of spread out. Our library is a very popular hangout space for both commuters and residential students. That's where our Learning Commons is, where they offer tutoring. You can find your own study room. There's a relaxation room with a massage chair, a robotic massage chair. So that's a great place to hang out. We have an Einstein's coffee branch on our campus, and the In-Between and Java City are both kind of also grab-and-go food locations where students can study. And then one thing that our students will probably say is in all the academic buildings, they have tucked away tables and couches and chairs that as you find your way around John Carroll, you'll kind of know where your spaces are and kind of claim those. I often get asked about food for commuter students. If you were interested in getting a meal plan, they have a very reduced meal plan only commuters can purchase. I think it's for 40 meals a semester, which actually is great. Our dining hall, it's all you can eat. If you've ever been on campus for a tour, you might have eaten in there. All kinds of options. You can bring your books in to study with you while you're eating lunch or once you're finished. The grab and go food options are in different locations. As I mentioned, the Einstein's, the Starbucks location and library, and really all of our locations accept cash and credit as well. So if you're interested in getting the meal plan, you can do that in the same place that you get your parking permit and sign for orientation. My advice to a lot of students is just kind of see what your freshman fall schedule is like. And then you'll kind of have an idea, because there are odds are you'll probably want to eat some meals maybe in the dining hall with some of the friends you meet in class and whatnot, but every student's situation is different. My final slide is the fact of the matter is commuters can really have a rich experience at John Carroll. Everyone commutes for different reasons. Sometimes it's they want to stay home with their dog. Sometimes they have a suite bedroom with their own attached bathroom. They don't want to give it up. Maybe they have a job that they're really connected to at home. Maybe you're helping take care of your grandma who lives with you. But again, you can have a really rich and exciting experience at John Carroll if you put your mind to it. If you want to get involved, there's a million ways to do that. You are welcome as a commuter to participate in every event on campus except for those that happen in the dorms on their floors with their RAs. But I'll tell you a secret, and our current students can confirm, our programs are probably more fun, and we often see residential students trying to come to the commuter programs, whether it's to get the Chick-fil-A or the nachos or the pizza, and really because we spend a lot of time just chilling and hanging out. So that is the end of the presentation. I just wanted everyone to be able to just get a general idea of what we do. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have our 4 students, if they could just introduce themselves, introduce your name, year, major, and hometown to start, and then I'll pose a few questions for each of you to answer. So why don't we start with Kyle?
Hello, I'm the other Kyle, which happens a lot with Kyle Odell, but he's Dr. Kyle, so it's a little easier for us. But I'm an interdisciplinary physics major. I see some of you physics kids mixed in here from our other session. Hello, hello. I'm a senior, so I'm graduating in a couple of weeks here. And I'm from Willoughby, Ohio. It's like 30 minutes on the east side.
Thank you. Jonathan.
Jonathan, I'm a junior chemistry major, great department, and I'm from Solon, Ohio.
Okay.
Like
how about you, Nor?
5 minutes.
Hello, I'm Nor, and I'm a junior bio major, and I'm from Westlake, Ohio.
All right. And how about you, Seth?
Hello, my name is Seth. I'm an alum. I graduated in 2018. Double major in math and computer science, and my hometown is Parma, Ohio.
All right. So one question I always get from commuters is it easy to get involved with involved with campus as a commuter? So if we go in the same order, what are some of the things that you've been involved with?
Yeah, so for me, my first year, I think the biggest thing is just getting out of your own head, because I know in classes done at 2 o'clock, you just want to go home and nap or do whatever you want to do. But if you take like the extra hour or 2 hours to like hang out on campus and build those relationships, it's really easy to find like your niche and things to get involved with. So in physics, we have a professional organization, the Society of Physics Students. Later on, I got super involved with Office of Student Engagement and student government. There's a couple of scholarship programs that I mentor students for, things like that. So the world is your oyster.
How about you, Jonathan?
Yeah, so I think like Kyle said, it's getting out of your head, and like Dr. Odell said, being a commuter is what you make of it. And at least for me, I viewed the fact that I live at home as more just off-campus housing. You know, I went home when I was done with my day, having classes, interactions with people, club sports, intramural sports. It's like you just got to make with it what you can, and not view the fact that you commute as a restriction on what you can do on campus, but view it just more as you live off campus.
What's something you're involved in?
So I'm involved with the John Carroll Ultimate Frisbee team, which is a lot of fun, and also our Campus Hillel, which is the Jewish Students Organization.
Okay. How about you, Nor?
So I think it's like they said, you just got to get out of your own head. But also, so I live like farther away. So what I end up doing, and I think it's a great plan, to just like stick in school. If there's an event, like I used to stay until, if I finished earlier than 2, which is when the dip would happen, I would just stay and do homework. You'll sit in the library. Don't, if you're in Dolan most of the time, like I am, you'll sit in the atrium and just do work until events happen. And I think that way you get work done and you can still be involved in school. So I'm involved in EMS, Emergency Medical Society, which is a great thing to be involved in, and it stays till 11 p.m. when you're on shift. So like I don't view me being a commuter restricting for me to stay late at school. I'm also involved in MSS, Muslim Student Society, and I'm involved in Women in STEM.
Yeah, I just want to follow up. John Carroll has its own EMS department on campus, and it is fully run by students. So if you're planning on maybe going into some kind of health science, that might be something interesting that you would want to get involved in and have on your resume in your med school application. All right, Seth, how about you?
So I do want to highlight the fact that John Carroll, as a community, really makes it easy to get involved in stuff. I know there's a student involvement fair. There's a lot of different opportunities to get involved. I myself, I was an orientation leader, which was a little shout out, I think one of the best jobs on campus. I was also a member of the Middle Eastern Student Association. I was a member of Greek Life. I think as a commuter, I really saw no obstacles in ways of getting involved.
Cool. Another question that hopefully you could address is, what is maybe a challenge that you face as a commuter, and how have you overcome it? Anyone can jump in with one of those. Yeah.
I don't know.
No
I guess
challenges.
early on, I think the thing is like there is the whole like you're gonna pull all-nighters from time to time. I'm not recommending it, but it's gonna happen. So like sometimes it's like kind of rough when you're like doing some project with somebody and they can kind of just walk back to their dorm to go and like go to bed or whatever at 3 a.m. However late you're up studying or working on a group project. Like that can be kind of frustrating, but once you find people, like you'll have friends that will let you sleep in their dorm for the night, or will let you stay in their apartment, or you might find a great like little niche spot. Like if you have a weird like lounge or something like that, you can sleep in there if you need. So I mean, that was kind of a challenge, I guess, early on, but like I said, you make those connections and also you get better about not pulling all-nighters as you get older. So a little 2 for 1.
If you try to sleep in your car in the winter, I'm going to knock on your door and tell you to get out of your car. So fair warning.
Though it's a great plan. Like you just turn on the heater and no one bothers you. I have like a pillow and a blanket in the backseat. It's like all there.
I had a pillow in a lab, yeah. I have a toothbrush in another room.
Seth and Jonathan, how about you? What challenge you maybe faced and how you like handled it or overcame it?
I will say that 2 of the bigger challenges that come to mind are traffic and weather conditions when driving in. I never ran into a faculty member or teacher that wasn't understanding of times if I was, a little bit late to class, or if there was a snowstorm and I couldn't get to school. Even if the university itself wasn't closed, if I didn't feel comfortable driving, I just shot an email and said, hey, can we work something out? And I never had issue in that regard. So that was nice.
Okay.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Like everyone has mentioned, I'd say it's just about making sure that people are accommodating of you. With club sports, at least, our practice times are really late at night because we don't get access to the gyms until close to 10, 11 o'clock at night. So sometimes you have to call up your friends that are on the team and say, hey, like I can't make it because I still have to be able to drive home. And I'm like, you're going to be exhausted after you're running for 2 hours. You don't really want to be in a situation where you're driving home and you're swerving because you're tired. It's just finding the people that can make accommodations for you.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think Kyle touched on it too, that you'll definitely be doing group projects in a lot of your classes. And if people are saying, yeah, we should meet at midnight to do our group project, commuter students, I think, get pretty good at advocating for themselves and saying, how about 4 p.m. or how about 7 p.m. So as students become more familiar with who commuter students are and what their experience is, I often see our residential students, they really interact and flow. It's not like you go into a class and say, those are the commuters and those students live in the dorms. As Kyle mentioned, and Seth is definitely a fan of, some of your friends might let you stay overnight in their dorm rooms, knowing that you might have a long ride home or if it's snowing. Making sure commuters are prepared with like an emergency bag in their car if the weather's not going to be good. I will say one perk right now is really cheap gas. And one perk for the commuters is they're saving a lot of money on gas right now because they're not driving to campus. Am I right, commuters? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make lemonade, y'all, out of lemons. I myself am a commuter. I live down in Cuyahoga Falls, which is about 30 miles south. So I have a lot of empathy for the commuter students. But I also understand that you can make a great go of it if you just have some advanced planning and some initiative. So my last piece of advice before we go to a Q&A where you all can use the chat feature at the bottom and we'll respond to your questions is that we always say that commuter services is a great place for you to start. We will provide a lot of social activities for you. We see a lot of freshmen and a lot of sophomores, but the goal really is that you become very connected to the John Carroll campus as a whole. So whether it's joining a fraternity or sorority, we have commuters who are varsity athletes. Forrest Campbell is a sophomore swimmer. He was like OAC Swimmer of the Year. So they figure out ways to be connected to things outside of commuter services, but we like to provide a great starting point for you to help get connected to other students and meet people in the John Carroll community. So if you all have questions, I'm going to say, please go ahead and send them to the chat at the bottom and we'll respond to them as they pop up. They could be really small questions, that's fine, or they could be really big questions about John Carroll. I think that the people here are pretty equipped to answer a lot of them. I'm going to say, what is one, while we're waiting for a question to pop up for the students, what's one perk of living at home?
Food, honestly. That's a big perk. Going home and like eating whatever you want. Yeah, I really enjoy that.
Okay.
I was also going to say food, so.
Is it because you're picky and your mom knows how to cook for you?
No,
Yeah.
because it's like, something's always there, you know?
Yeah.
Like you have that in a dorm, I guess, but like not in the same way.
Yeah. Jonathan, how about you?
Consistency, you know, I'm not like, I enjoy like when spontaneous things happen, but it's like really nice knowing like, okay, I'm waking up and like everything is where I left it the night before. I don't have to worry about like a roommate coming in and just like trashing the room because they decided to do something stupid the night before. So it's like nice knowing that everything in the morning is where I left it at night.
Okay. Seth, how about you?
I would definitely say, I mean, food was my number one. Nora got that, but beyond that was, I guess sleeping in my own bed. You know, having my room. I think laundry is another big one. I don't have to share laundry, you know, personally. So.
Yeah, I think the ones I hear the most common are they get their own bed to sleep in that they're used to, the food that they're used to, and also their pets, like their dogs and their cats, and they get to see them every day. So yeah, so we acknowledge for commuters, there are some challenges and there's also some benefits. I see some questions popping up. So how much is the commuter food plan? So I'm going to give an estimate, but I'm going to encourage you to visit the John Carroll website. I think the John Carroll website for the 40 meals for the semester was somewhere around like $385 or so. I don't have that number memorized at all. That's off the top of my head of looking at it. So that's an option. If you go through all 40 meals in the first 6 weeks, you can purchase another one to add on to it. Or as I mentioned, you can just even load money on your John Carroll card and use it like a debit, or you can just pay cash or credit from place to place. All right, so I mean, once classes are done, you can also go to the gym and get gains, right? Yes. So yeah, Kyle Blazinski trying to flex. Yeah, so the gym, you have access to all of John Carroll's recreational facilities and workout facilities. You just bring your John Carroll ID and they swipe you in. There are shower facilities with lockers that you can use to put your stuff in. So yes, So working out, please, we want you to do it. We want you to go to yoga class. We want you to do the thing where you're lifting the heavy ropes and snapping them back and forth. Zumba. So almost every fitness class you can find in the real world, John Carroll has as well. And those are all included because you pay a student activity fee. So yeah, there's a ton of ways to stay fit and active. That's very normal for John Carroll students. So commuters are more than welcome to as well. And we hope that you do that. All right, so a question, does the commuter meal plan include alternatives for allergy sensitive people? So I'll take that. Students who have any kind of allergies or a gluten-free or any dietary restrictions, they would have a conversation with the director of our dining hall and our food service contract, and they would work that out and have all their specific questions, and they would walk through all the alternatives. So that's something that you would bring up with our dining services staff, and they'd be able to help you. Oh, I see Dr. Peck, our Director of Mission Identity, Vice President for Mission Identity, posted the JCU commuter meal plan information. It might change a little bit because we're actually getting a new food service contractor in the fall, but that will give you a rough estimate of what has been in the past and probably what it'll likely be in the future. So Seth, since you're an alum and working in the real world, how would you say your John Carroll experience kind of formed who you are?
Well, I guess the relevant point would be that it really helped me enjoy a commute. So I had about like a 30-minute commute. My first job was in Columbus. I was working for Nationwide as a contractor, and then I later got hired full time. So the commute, I had about a 35-minute commute from where I could live in Columbus to Nationwide in the center of downtown, which for some people, some of my coworkers were shocked, and I'm like, I drove 45 minutes to college every day. It really wasn't. It was just kind of par for the course, honestly.
Okay.
In general, I think it set me up pretty well. I think that it's almost impossible to go to John Carroll as a whole and not get leadership and like as a quality and like build on that. And just really seeing the workforce and coming from a welcoming community is really easy to kind of build and like find a welcoming community in my work. So very, very happy overall with my John Carroll.
Cool. We have a question for the students. How early do classes start? And when do they end in the evening? So you all can speak like how early do classes start on the daily, and then how late do they get out?
So I think classes whenever you schedule for them, really, like for labs, for example, some of them are at 8 a.m., some of them can start at like 1 or 2 p.m. As a commuter, so I live like around 45 minutes away from John Carroll, and I took a lot of 8 a.m., so like it's just sometimes you have to like schedule with what you have. And like Seth said, if anything happens like with the weather being really terrible or traffic being like just really bad, always just email the professor, and I don't think that should stop you from taking like an 8 a.m. if that's the class that you want. Yeah.
Yeah, true. So it's going to depend on your personal preference. Some of you are rock stars in the morning. Yeah, go ahead, John.
It's really like, again, also up to you. Like the nice thing about
Is Jonathan freezing for the rest of you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jonathan, I think you're freezing a little bit.
My bad.
Okay.
Try
again.
1 second.
No, you might
switch something up real quick.
Okay.
Better? Worse?
For sure. Yes.
Okay. Like the nice thing about college schedules is you get to make them yourself. Like there isn't the mandate from like a high school schedule that says like you have to be here from this time to this time. So like you can set it up in a way that you're taking classes that you know you need to put the most energy into when you know you're going to be at like your highest energy level. So like if you're a morning person, you can like rock at 8 a.m. for your major classes. Set your major classes to as early as you can. But like also accept that like some classes fill faster than others, so you'll have to be accommodating of certain things.
For the question on when they end, I think that most students tend to end their days by 4-ish. I mean, it depends on what your schedule is, but as you get into your major as an older student, like some of the Bowler business classes go till like 9 o'clock. So you'll know that as you go forward. I teach 2 classes, and one ends at 6:15, and one ends at 7:45. But again, you see those times before you sign up for them, so you can plan accordingly.
Yeah, but a vast majority are between 8 and 2 for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Yep. As a commuter, y'all, do you recommend scheduling earlier or later classes? That's a question.
I like to schedule earlier classes. I try to stay away from rush hour because I have to drive on the highway. If I do end up scheduling for later classes, I'll stay in school until like traffic slows down, just do work and chill. And then, yeah, but I usually try to stay to the earlier classes because I like being done in the beginning of the day and then just having the rest of the day to either stay and do work or go home and do work.
Any other recommendations from the students or alum?
I think it depends on when. Oops, sorry. So I think it depends on when you're going to be productive. Like there were definitely times where there were days where I'd start at 11 o'clock. And if I slept in the morning and slept in until like 10 or whatever, and then quick ran off to class, it was kind of a waste of a morning. But I got pretty good about like still getting up at like 8 and then doing work and then going to class. But I mean, it is totally a personal preference thing, but 8 a.m.s are, I don't know about you guys, but 8 a.m.s are not my vibe.
That's either. No, I'm just kidding.
Kind of building off that point, yeah. I love personally the 10 a.m. is usually my start time because that, as Nora mentioned, the traffic after the fact, there's also the morning traffic I took into account. So I like to around 9:30 there wasn't really any, like a lot of the 480 traffic was gone for me. So I found a nice 10 o'clock start time for me personally. And then yeah, I would stay way after just to make sure that I didn't hit the rush hour coming home.
It's about time to wrap up. I just put in the chat, if you have any questions at all about commuting, you can just email, there's a commuter email account, commuters@jcu.edu. I have that set up to get notifications on my phone. So if you send in a question, I'll make sure that I get back to you with all the information you need. We can also hook you up with one of these current students or another current commuter if you have further questions from a student perspective. And hopefully, I also am in charge of orientation. So hopefully I'll see some of you as we go through the orientation process this summer. But again, I'm very thankful. I've been at John Carroll 16 years now. I actually was an RA and used to work in housing. And for the past 10 or 11 years, I've worked with commuters. You are my people. I really enjoy interacting with the commuters in a very casual way. And again, I've seen so many students, including these 4, have a really great experience. So again, don't hesitate to reach out with any questions you have about that. We'll get those questions answered. And I know that Adam probably has some closing comments as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kyle. This was an awesome session. Thank you all for joining in. If you do have questions about enrollment or completing that application, or if after hearing this you decide that you want to be a Blue Streak and make your deposit, you can log into your JCU gateway and do that, or reach out to your enrollment managers if you need help with resetting passwords or anything like that. So feel free to contact your enrollment managers, Kyle, the commuter email, anything like that. So thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you all logging in here. We have a bunch more sessions kind of going on that you can find at jcu.edu/celebration. But other than that, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you guys.
Bye, everyone.
Have a good one, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Seth and Nora and Kyle and Jonathan. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Anytime.
Anytime.